I think that would definitely improve Hollywood, right? Because these movies are would be great. Reddit stories are fantastic, and I am all for it. So I'm looking forward to see if there's got to be a follow up to this eventually, right? Yeah, that's my hope anyway. Hopefully, uh, that's what I'm waiting for. All right, let's talk Dr. Alpha. Uh, like I said, Lit Devil asked me to take a look at his book, Dr. Alpha, Dead Man's Lullaby. So that's what we're going to do. Now, Dead Man's Lullaby is the prequel to Dr. Alpha Miracle Child, his first comic. Um, so let's take a look. Now, right off the jump, I like this cover. Uh, very nice. You know, we got Dr. Alpha there down at the bottom. And we got Dr. Cloner, his girlfriend. We got this sexy little babe here. I don't want to spoil it. But you got all your main players there. And you got the little mystery guy there in the back. The only issue I have with this is Dr. Alpha is a redhead. He's a redhead. And on the cover, he's definitely a dirty blonde, right? Almost brown haired. I think other than that, there's nothing wrong with this. Good cover. It's a good cover. Now, what is Dr. Alpha? Dead Man's Lullaby. Right? Well, it is a story ripped straight from Hollywood. He's pulled an Uno Reverso. So, Dead Man's Lullaby is about Dr. Alpha waking up, being greeted by a video message from Dr. Cloner, in which he has injected Dr. Alpha with a new drug, a new disease that will attack his adrenaline ability, right? It'll basically shut his heart down, and he'll be dead. He'll die within an hour. He's got an hour left to live. His heart will stop beating. That's why he calls it the Dead Man's Lullaby, basically. Now, if that sounds familiar, if that sounds vaguely familiar, it's because that is the plot of the Jason Statham movie Crank, right? Jason Statham wakes up in a bed. He sees a DVD, plays it. On the DVD is a message basically telling him, hey, we've injected you with a synthetic Chinese drug. This drug will kill you. You're going to die. Through the course of the opening, Jason Statham finds out that it is if his heart doesn't go, if he doesn't keep his heart beating at a certain rate, that he'll die, right? So it's essentially the same story, but it obviously takes some twists and turns in the Dr. Alpha version. So the overall story, pretty good. It's pretty good, right? There's a few hiccups, I would say, in this story. I don't know anything about Dr. Alpha, right? I don't know if in the original Dr. Alpha Miracle Child there's a discussion about whether Dr. Alpha has any sort of durability or superpowers or strength or whatever, right? But in this comic, which I was told by Lit Devil himself, you could read either one first, right? It doesn't matter. So reading this one, other than the visuals, other than the actual story itself, there's no actual exposition going, yeah, it's a good thing I have super skin, or it's a good thing that I have extra healing factor or something, right? There's none of that. And so there is a lot of over-the-top violence and action that I'm not sure a normal person could survive, right? Explosions, he's getting shot with lasers, he's getting stabbed, he's getting hit with baseball bats and things, there's all kind of blood. It's very bloody and violent. So other than that hiccup, right, but it is a comic book, so if you kind of go, squint your eyes just enough and go, it's a comic book. Let's ignore logic for a little bit, right? It's a pretty fun story, pretty action packed. We find out that Dr. Alpha used to work for Strategos, and we find out a little bit about who's behind this whole thing. Dr. Cloner is obviously working for someone else, and that someone else is not looking to kill Dr. Alpha. Dr. Cloner is doing this on his own because perhaps he's looking for revenge for something that Alpha did in the past, right? Because they used to be not friends, but not exactly enemies, colleagues. In fact, we're told that Cloner is the guy who helped Alpha get his little account, and there's like a secret supervillain banking system, right? And so apparently Cloner helped Alpha, set up his account, because Alpha used to be a good guy. He used to work for essentially the U.S. government, their version of S.H.I.E.L.D., I guess, right? Strategos. He used to work for that, then decided, hey, I don't want to do that no more. I'm going to become a bad guy. And so, like I said, pretty good story. Overall, there's some twists, there's some turns, over-the-top action. Say it's a solid story. Good start. Obviously, it ends on a cliffhanger because this is a part one. This is Dead Man's Lullaby, but it's not the complete story. So it should have been really like Dead Man's Lullaby part one, right? But obviously, S.A. Rivera, Lit Devil is the writer. Anthony Figaro is the cover artist. Preston Acevedo is the penciler. Oliver Lee Arcee is the colorist. Eric Weathers, the letterer. Jeff Craven did the extra story. The extra story, the art in that is a lot better. I like the art in the extra story a lot better than the art in the main story. So the art in the main story has a very stylized look. It's very rough. I'm going to show you the first page here. We got Dr. Alpha laying in bed, all caked up. Like I said, it's very rough. It has a definitely indie comic feel to it. Doesn't have a very polished feel to it, right? It's hard to tell. Like, obviously, we're not seeing the pencils without the colors. I don't know if the colors are what's giving this the look of sort of unpolished roughness, or if it's the pencils themselves. Or the inks, right? There was no inker mentioned. So I'm assuming that Preston did the inks himself. Or maybe Oliver did the inks. I'm not clear. I should have asked Lit Devil, right? I should have definitely asked who did the inking on this. But yeah, it's a little rough. Now, like I said, overall, pretty decent story. I'm not going to show you everything because I don't want to spoil it all. But it is a very well done story. It has a very coherent plot. But it's just the over the top action that I don't know if it really works as far as believability, right? And the only other thing that I would complain about is Dr. Alpha. By the end of the story, he does look a little Jason Statham-ish, right? Because he starts off with regular hair, and then through the course of the events in the story, he gets his hair burned. So let me see if I get a good shot here. So if you're looking at the screen, you can see it's just a normal guy here, right? Normal flat top, regular hair. That umbrella guy makes a nice little cameo appearance in the comic here. And I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a little cameo from Lit Devil himself, but it has that like suit, blacked out base, 2 white eyes. So I think it is, right? I'm gonna say that it probably is. But then later on in the story, if we go towards the end, Let me see, where is that image? He basically has short hair because the hair's all burned off. It's a nice little picture. So we get sort of a more Jason Statham looking Dr. Alpha. And I don't know if that's done on purpose because of obviously the connection to Crank, or if it's just my mind filling in the blanks, right? And then, as you can see, like, he is torn to shit. He gets lasered. He gets fucking stabbed. It's bleeding all over the place. They don't solve the issue, but they definitely mitigate it. And I think that's might have been a mistake, right? Because spoiler, he gets administered a synthetic adrenaline, and they tell you that that's going to mitigate this drug going through. It's not going to cure him. He still will eventually die, but this has definitely increased the time that he has to go out and do this, to figure out what's going on. So I think that's too early. I think if he was going to do that, maybe hint at it as a cliffhanger, maybe put that as the goal, that he's trying to reach this synthetic. Like, he gets told there's a synthetic adrenaline that he can get that'll prolong his life, and that'll set up the next issue. Getting it so early, it just feels almost like putting the time limit, you got an hour to live. Oh, you got a synthetic thing? Oh, you don't have an hour to live? Okay, let's stretch that out. Let's stretch this story out to a couple more books, right? Because with an hour, you figure, oh man, that's going to be a quick adventure. Or he's either going to die, or he's going to figure this out and save the day, as it were, in one issue. But this is a multi-issue story. All right. Like I said, there's some weird art in some of the places, because, like I said, it's a little rough. There's also some weird sequences. So let me show you what I mean. He gets stabbed in the back, right? So Dr. Alpha gets stabbed in the back after a fight with these guys. And he says, I kindly asked the hotel staff for assistance, right? And if you're not looking at the image, he's got a knife in his back. There's a hotel waiter, or not waiter, what they call those, bellhop, right, in front of him. And he's got his arm up with his thumb sort of pointing at his back, right? And you assume, well, that must mean that he's going to ask this guy to pull a knife out of his back, right? Hey, buddy, can you help me? And the waiter goes, huh? He goes, got my adrenaline up and walked back into the fire. But then we see that he, in fact, still has the knife in his back, right? So what was the assistance that he asked for? What help did he need? It's kind of weird. Kind of weird. And there's also this other weird oddity here. So he walks into this the kitchen area, and he gets a well from off screen. And we see this chick. He says, top off your drink, sir. So you got the guys running. They go, let's get out of here. And you got this word bubble coming from off. It says, I know that freakish red hair anywhere. He says, last night at the bar, Huff, I should have known it was you. And get this nice little ass shot. There's a good image. I like this image. But what's weird about this, right, is, again, it's a sequence of events. Well, top your drink, sir. I know that freakish red hair anywhere. She knows who he is, right? In the course of the story, she's the one who drugged him, that set him up in order to get the new little thing injected in him, right? She drugged him at the bar, and then they took him to the hotel room, drugged him up with the new compound. So she knows what's going on. So this idea, this top off your drink, sir, being snarky, but then going, well, I know that freakish red hair anywhere. That probably should have been the first line, or just drop it completely, right? I don't think that fits into the situation. Because he's not hiding. He's not pretending to be someone else. He's clearly right there. You can see him. And it's not like she goes, Dr. Alpha, I know that freakish red hair anywhere. That would at least give the line a little more oomph. But it's like, I know that freakish red hair anywhere. Okay. I think you need to, like, if you don't name drop them, it's kind of a weird line. Okay? And then the other oddity is he says, I should have known it was you. Now that's odd because earlier, when he's going through this whole series of events and he's thinking about what happened and who it is, he's already come to that conclusion, right? He's already come to the conclusion that, hey, it is Cloner's girlfriend that drugged him, says. Cloner only had one person on his payroll that could fool me enough to get a sedative in my drink, his girlfriend. And if I had my guess right, she stayed behind to make sure Cloner's plan went smoothly. So he's already come to the conclusion of who it is, and he shows who it is. But when he walks into the kitchen to confront her, it was you. It's only set up that way so that you could have the big, here's who she is and here's her name, right? So I think it's awkward. It's awkward dialogue. The other part of the dialogue that I think is weird. So this comic does the thing that a lot of modern comics do, right? It's where the guy always talks to himself, right? I always find it weird. Like, I don't talk too much. Do you talk to yourself on a normal basis, right? And you just like have to verbalize everything. Like the art of thinking, right? The art of like just people thinking. There we go. Let me show you what I mean. So he's just beating up these guys. He says, no cell phones. Then how do they communicate? Communicators in their coat sleeve, of course. And he says, I needed a new plan. So these red narration boxes are him talking, right? So if they're him talking, if everything he does is verbalized, then these need to have quotation marks on them because they're supposed to be, this is exactly what he's saying. He's saying these out loud. If these are thinking, if he's thinking, right, I needed a new plan, then this shouldn't be verbalized. Right? Like, why is he verbalizing certain things to himself? And then he's also thinking to himself. Like, you could make these thought balloons, right? Instead of word balloons, just make them thought balloons. No cell phones. How do they communicate? Like, that's clearly a thought that you're making him speak, which is weird. Like, he's just going around talking to himself. And I noticed that a lot in modern comics, and I noticed that when our script leaked, right? People were complaining that we had too many thought balloons. Why is Frogman thinking so much? But I think that's normal, right? That's more natural to have a character thinking to himself, right? Than talking out loud. Like, do people walk around all day like just talking to themselves out loud? I don't think they do. So I think that we need to get back into this idea that like thought balloons are a thing, right? Certain things can be verbalized, right? If he's talking to another character, or if he's shouting, or if he's expressing rage or anger or surprise or something, right? That could be verbalized, sure. But like simple things like communicators in the coat sleeve, of course, that's clearly a thought, right? That's not a verbalization. That was another little quirk. And again, maybe this is a modern thing and I'm just not familiar with it. But I noticed this, and I think maybe I'm only noticing it because of the scrolling, right? Because I'm scrolling through in a digital PDF, right? But I noticed in the two splash pages, right? So we get this nice splash page. Dr. Alpha is in the elevator. He's beating all these guys up in the elevator. Preston has signed it. I don't think I've ever seen a comic book with signed art unless it's like a bonus page at the end, right? Like, hey, here's this like bonus pinup at the end, right? Like in the middle of the comic to see like a splash page, and then like the guy signed it. And he does that again. There's another splash page later on where it's the introduction of 3 characters, and we're going to show that. But he signed it, and I wouldn't have noticed it, right? It wasn't for the fact that like I'm scrolling down, and as I'm scrolling, I go, oh shit, what's that? Right? Like my eye probably never would have noticed it if I was just looking at it in a comic page like this, like a regular size. You know, because you're taking in everything, and it's a little thing there. Probably wouldn't have noticed it, but like I said, because I'm scrolling and I'm watching these pages fly past my face, I kind of noticed that. So, like I said, I don't know if that's like a new thing. Is it a thing that comic artists do nowadays? I don't know. And here is the other thing, and so we get another splash page. It's introduction of the superheroes, the Justice Scouts. It's 3 ladies in a superhuman armor. And the issue with this, it's like a pretty decent image, right? We get the 3 ladies and they're standing there. I think this, the lettering here, should have been bigger. And I think that when they did the ground, so if you're not looking, the ground is this weird orangey with a black pattern on it, almost like a dots, a lot of black dots. But then the lettering is done in the exact same colors, right? Black with like this orangey around it, right? And it almost like if, again, I'm looking at it big because I've blown it up, obviously, and I'm looking at it on the computer. But I think that if you're looking at it just kind of normal, right, it's kind of hard to read. So I think maybe be aware of that. Maybe you're going to put people's names and stuff, maybe put a different color font, have the colors stand out from the background better. Maybe put them bigger, right? And they do that again. There's a later on where they do the exact same thing, where it's like the names of the characters are being blended in to the background just a little. It's kind of weird. That's towards the end. Let me see if I can find this page. Here we go. So this is when they put on the big call. They go, "Hey, we need all hands on deck for Dr. Alpha." Right? He's on free. Now this one's not too bad. I think it's a little small, but as far as like standing out from the background, this one is terrible. And this one's pretty bad too. Like I would think again, Eric Weathers should have either made it bigger, or when they colored it, definitely should have colored it a different color, or even put a box around it. Right? We talked about that before because it's not really going to affect the art. You put it inside a box, a little white opaque box, right? There is nudity. There is one panel, which is weird. Like out of there's 82 pages of a comic book here with the extra story, and there's one page of a naked lady's titties, which is weird. And it's a flashback. It's not even like a relevant to the story, so it's just kind of weird. So, if you're buying this for your children's, just know that. But yeah, so Dr. Alpha gets drugged, figures out quickly that he needs to keep his adrenaline up. He's looking for a cell phone, which again is weird because he's like, I need a cell phone because he's got to call his bank. And the lady he fights in the kitchen, she's the one he gets the cell phone from. But she's supposed to be in the CIA, like ex-CIA, ex-military, right? She's supposed to be smart. Ex-Special Forces, ex-CIA. Sylvia Safone, a.k.a. Blade Cat. And he goes, hey, you got a cell phone? And she goes, yeah, look, right here. It's like ex-CIA, everybody. When the bad guy that you're trying to kill goes, hey, you got a cell phone? And you go, yeah, it's right. Here's my cell phone. I think that's bad. I think it's bad writing. Like, she should have been like, why don't you come find out? Or, hey, you could find out if I have a cell phone after you kill me, right? Like, she clearly shouldn't be like, yeah, I got a cell phone. Well, why would you be asking that, Mr. Bad Guy? And she even tells him that it is certified with Oculux, which is the bad guy banking system thing, right? And again, why would she be like, this is, if she was like a goofy henchman, right? She's just like, oh, some just goofy dork, or he tricked her into revealing this information. I think that would make sense, right? But be like, hey, this is supposed to be a really smart lady, really smart ex-CIA, ex-Special Forces lady, and she is just basically telling him, yeah, I got a cell phone. I got that thing that you're asking about. I think it's pretty bad. But quirks aside, it is a very solid story. I'm very interested to see where it goes from here. Like I said, he's getting his ass kicked. He's getting bloody. He's getting beaten. He's getting shot. He MacGyvered like this gun that's shooting out like radiation. Apparently, it doesn't affect him. Right? He takes a bunch of stuff from the break room at the hotel that he's at, creates a gun that shoots out a green laser. Yeah, let's show that, because I like the way that art looks on that, but it's just really weird. So he got this gun that he's created. He's created this gun, fires it, zaps everybody. And it makes this huge fucking smoldering crater. We got melted people. And I'm like, okay, but why didn't he die? Wouldn't he have died from the heat? It's fantastic as far as like visually, but like logistically, I'm like, whoa, it's pretty fucking weird. Then later on, he steals one of their like when he fights the Justice Scouts, he incapacitates one, takes her little core, right, her little battery pack, and fires the gun with the battery pack. He somehow is able to take this battery pack from the Iron Man armor, puts it into his gun, right, fires it. He's completely on fire. He's glowing. You could see his skeleton. Like this Iron Man armor power source is so powerful. It blows away the lady, and he's just like, he's smoldering, but he's alive. Like I said, I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something as far as like Dr. Alpha being like super durable, right? Super strong, something. But it doesn't seem to make much sense. He does die though for like 2 minutes, and then he gets an EpiPen. They EpiPen him back to life. So that is the little bit of oddity in the comic. Like I said, solid effort. I definitely recommend, if you're into over the top action comics, definitely get this one. I haven't read the Miracle Child, and like I said, I don't know if it adds context to Dr. Alpha's character himself or his abilities. But Lit Devil said you could read either one, right? So I did that. I did the just read the second one and see what I thought of it. Like it's solid. The art, like I said, is a little weak, but the story is enough to get over the art being not my cup of tea, right? Action is great if you love action. Fucking balls to the wall. At one point, he hammers a guy in the balls with the little claw end and rips out the guy's testicle. He rips the testicle out of a guy. It is insane, right? My little nitpicks aside, there is man. Now that I think about it, see, there's one more nitpick, and I don't know if it's me. Maybe it's me, right? Could be me. Might be you guys. We'll find out. Because here's my other nitpick. There is two parts, or not two parts, but two moments of what I would call bad onomatopoeia. Right? Let me see if I can get to it. I'm scrolling. All right, here it is. So he's in a fight with a bunch of henchmen, right? He just ripped the guy's balls off. He smacks the guy in the skull. Okay. Smacks him in the skull with the claw end of the hammer, and it says splash. Splash. I don't think that's a splash. It's not even a sploosh. I think it'd be like because you're hitting the skull, so there'd be like maybe a ka-chunk, right? I don't think splash. Is splash even? And then he gets stabbed, and the onomatopoeia is stab. I'm pretty sure stab is not a sound effect. Pretty sure if you get stabbed, it doesn't make a stab sound, right? Like when I got stabbed in the leg, it didn't go stab. Like the blade didn't make that noise when it went in my leg. So I think those two onomatopoeias got to be changed, right? I think that those two right there definitely got to be other than that, as far as onomatopoeia, it's pretty good, right? Snap works, crunch. You're getting those like good sound effects. And I think like splash and stab kind of throw you off, kind of take you out of it. Now, I did talk to Lit Devil. I did mention this in the stream the other day, how the henchmen are all very unique, but they don't get any sort of introduction, right? So the Dr. Cloner, his guys, the original team that drugged him, they get the little, introduction, Amanda Peerwood, Dr. Mindel Cloner, Agatha Vale, aka Phobia, right? Those three get introduced, right? But then all these other henchmen who have very distinct looks, right? Yeah. Like we get these three henchmen that show up. Boom. These guys are, look at this. These are great fucking designs, right? This giant hulking monster with a little hockey mask on and got a little fucking claw hammer. We got this guy. He's got like these boxing gloves and like weird wrist things. He's got a little championship boxing belt on with a little old-timey boxing shorts, like a robe that's all tattered up. And then this little like leprechaun guy, little Irish guy with a little leprechaun hand and smokes. He's got those big sideburns, and he's got two what look like some sort of brass knuckle type things, right? These guys look visually great, and they're just normal dudes. As far as the story is concerned, like they don't have names, they don't have code names. They're not like Dr. Boxing Glovenstein or some shit, right? They're just like three dudes that just show up. And then the other henchmen that also show up are also all visually impressive, but they're treated in the story as if they're just like normal henchmen dudes, right? Like they're treated as if they're just like blue suits from Cobra or something, right? Like just not the main henchmen, just like normal filler henchmen, like just normal goons. So again, it's not horrible, but it's like they're not. And when Lit Devil said he told his artist to just make like normal goons, and the artist like took liberties and did this. If that was the case, so here's the thing, right? Like, so let's say you do this, right? You say, hey, you go to your artist, you go, hey, I want like 3 henchmen to show up. They're gonna fight Dr. Alpha. And you're thinking it's just regular dudes, right? Like 3 regular guys, you know, maybe in suits, maybe 3 regular just thugs, right? And then he does this, and he makes this great fucking distinct visual thing, right? Like if I was handed this, if I had gotten this back from Finbar or whoever, right? I said, hey, you know, make it so 3 guys walk in, they're gonna fight Dr. Alpha. And this is the page they gave me back. I would immediately go, okay, these are awesome. These are awesome fucking characters. All right, here's what we're gonna do, right? We're gonna get these guys names. I'm gonna think up some backstories for them, right? And now these guys have now become more than just normal dudes, right? Because I think that would add to the gravitas of the situation, right? Like, oh shit, it's like these 3 henchmen dudes. He's like, you know, punching McKiller, right? It's like, oh shit, little Irish McGee, right? So I think it adds to like, oh, these are just more than normal dudes because they look cool. They look like more than normal dudes. So I definitely would have went back and went, hey, let me throw some names on these. Let me invent some names, right? Even if they're just like cheap names, even if they're just like puns or something, right? I would have did something to add a little extra to this, a little extra oomph, right? And like I said, when you have the big moment where he's like surrounded by a whole bunch of henchmen, it's the same thing, right? They're all very visually distinct. Like I said, we had the bunch of clowns, the guy dressed up like Tug. We got a guy in a Jason mask, a guy in I think maybe it's Mauler. It's got like a Mauler face mask on. We got a guy that's dressed up like a baseball player. None of these guys have names. I guess like Dr. Cloner just has a whole bunch of henchmen that have unique designs. He doesn't have one distinct. It's not like the Penguin, who they all dress up in one costume, or like the Riddler, where they're all wearing like green. It's just like a bunch of visually distinct henchmen. There's no theme. That's what I'm looking at for, right? There's no theme to the henchmen, which makes it feel like all the characters should be unique and more than just random goons. So I think that not a failing. It's just an oddity. It's a quirk of the art, right? It's like the art is better than it should be for these random goons. And again, I think that it's hard to tell if these random goons, because again, they were supposed to be random goons. They're not random goons. They look very visually distinctive. So it's like when he's fighting them, they look like they should be like super powered, but they're not. And Dr. Alpha's whipping their ass really easily. So it's this weird juxtaposition, right? If they were just regular dudes, then Dr. Alpha beating them up wouldn't seem that impressive, but it seems super impressive because it's like these very visually distinct characters that look like they should have some sort of abilities or powers, or they're more than your average henchman. So I think it almost hurts the story by having it look that cool, right? So yeah, those are my thoughts on Dr. Alpha, Dead Man's Lullaby. Very excited to see where it goes from here. I'll definitely buy the next issue whenever it's available. If you like action, if you like over the top, bloody violence, definitely give this one a look. I don't know if they're still available, if there's a second chance, if there's a in-demand store. Maybe reach out to Lit Devil and ask him. But these are definitely a good comic. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. I haven't read the first one though, and I'll give my thoughts on that on a different time because I do have that too. I do have the Miracle Child, and so again, maybe this will add or detract. It'll enhance my enjoyment, or maybe it'll be like make me very angry, right? Because depending on what's in Miracle Child, I might be like, hey, this makes a lot more sense, or hey, this is really, really bad. Like these two stories do not mesh up, right? Which is one of the things I said with Isom and Isom 2, right? Isom 2 on its own is pretty decent, but then Isom 2, when you know that it's following up Isom 1, they don't mesh very well. So I think that's could be an issue or could not. We'll find out.